Oh, that was fast. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my goodness. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties, but I'm about to start. My goodness. It's always fun when it's just me. Personally, I love the attention. Is that terrible to say? Oh my goodness. Hello, hello. We're just having a couple of technical difficulties, but we're gonna get started soon, I promise. There he is. Okay. I think I did that right. I did it right. Hi, Charan.
Hey, what's going on?
How was your day? How was your weekend?
Uh, it was a day. It was a day. I'm having a good weekend. It was pretty good. Pretty good
That's
indeed.
good.
What's going on? I like your lights.
Thank you. I really love the LED lights because you can change the colors, or I can from my phone.
Really?
So I get the fun, like, gamer streaming setup lighting situation.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like some people are joining. So we can just go ahead and dive right in if you're okay with that.
I'm with it. You look, nothing changes. You can see my face.
All right, so first question, who are you? Who is Charin?
I'm a photographer, retoucher, a low-key graphic designer. In the Chicagoland area, focus on beauty, fashion, and portraiture. Yeah.
And also kids.
Oh yeah, that's your kids. That's your kids. I'm floating and rotating, man. I did some recent stuff that was amazing. I did some amazing portraiture today. I'm very happy about it.
Always
I,
love to hear photographers, especially black photographers, say, no, my work was actually amazing. It was incredible.
oh man, it's hard. I mean, to be honest with you, they taught me how to do that. So I would when I first started shooting, I would have problems shooting. Like I would be like, oh, I'm finna go out there and bomb, and he would say, "You dope," and you have to tell yourself that you dope. So it became like a positive affirmation to be able to say, "Oh look, I'm dope. I am dope." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Now, once you get comfortable enough to say it yourself, nobody else can take it away from you.
absolutely.
Somebody can walk up to you and be like, "Oh look, your work is trash." And it's like, too late. I already told myself I'm dope. Yeah.
No, that's super valuable. I think, especially now in an age of social media. And said how I feel about social media before. I think it really encourages people, especially the anonymity of it. I think it really encourages people to be extremely aggressive in a way that they would never be in person. So when you're posting your art on social media, I think you absolutely have to be able to tell yourself, no, I'm amazing, actually.
You know, I think when it comes to posting on social media, you need to have your own personal barrier because I feel sorry for social media. Listen, social media is a place where people who don't have voices have voices. If you didn't mean anything in your house, if within the ecosystem of your friends in high school, you're nothing, you can get on social media and you can combine with somebody else who feels like they're nothing, and y'all can have a team of rah-rah to do that thing. Now, if you have that understanding going into social media, nothing can touch you. But a lot of people don't, and a lot of people like I hate hearing stories about people who commit suicide due to internet bullying and things like that, and it's because they don't have that barrier. I think everybody needs to develop that thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think social media can be an incredibly powerful tool, especially for creatives, especially for early career creatives who are looking to network and like build a community with other creatives. Clubhouse has been invaluable to me for the last year, but I also think that people are just terrible on the internet.
Listen, and you know what's funny? I get called a bully, and I'm not a bully. If you capping and you on that stage, I'm gonna kick your ass, and it's because you shouldn't be on the stage. And then I take it really personal because I know that there are people down there listening, people who are too scared to get up on the stage, and they listening to this fool, say this shit, and somebody else is taking notes and consuming it. I can't stand for that. Get off the stage. Stop lying. You're not telling the truth. And if you are, I challenge you. And if you feel a certain type of way, it's because you're lying. So, yeah.
All right.
Hey, wait, hey. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, Mike, on you. Did you think that was going to change because I was being interviewed live?
No. No, I told Dallas and Day, I want these to be super conversational. I think one of the things I hate the most about interviews is that they feel stilted a lot of times. The dialogue, it doesn't feel natural. There's no like actual connection between the people that are talking. For me, as a writer, as someone who interviews people, I always want it to feel like a conversation because if you're not having a good time, I'm not having a good time. And when you and I talk, I
Absolutely.
feel like we are always have a good time.
Especially because I newfound information about
We'll
ADHD.
get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. I promise. But before we do, this is not an official question or anything, but I noticed you have some books in the background, and I see one that I'm quite familiar with. But can you tell me what is on your shelf here?
uh, this is the book that made me and changed me. So when I was in Chicago, I I didn't get no help in Chicago. So I sought out help, and I ran in a day in one of Pratik's rooms in Facebook, and we started talking, and he started helping me out. And then I ran into Dallas, and him and Dallas started breaking it down. And once I got it, I was like, I want to do this. They're like, come to the class, come to the class. So I did just that. I came to the class, and this book will stay on my shelf forever because this is everything that you see on my page comes from this. Comes from them too. It comes from my crew. I love it. These other books. This is like you can't take a class in photography. Like you can take a class to learn a trick, but you can't take a class to like really learn about what's going on. So you have to study.
Sure.
And these are just my books. These are study books. These are my what I'll study at Tom Ford, Peter Lindbergh, Merton Marcus. You know what I'm saying? We have a you almost want to say you have something of a book club. So me, the mentees, the teachers, we all grab certain books. We go through the books. We read, we reflect, and talk about, what does this do to you? How does it move you? Does it inspire you? If it inspires you, what type of this inspiration will you take and let bleed into your work, or has it
Yeah.
already? Yeah, it's good. It's important.
I think one of the things that frustrates me about the current state of photography is that people treat it, it can be a hobby, it can absolutely be a hobby, let me start there, but I think that people forget that it is also a craft. It is something that can be mastered, and in order to do so you have to treat it like any other area of study. You have to actually put in work, you have to read books.
Listen, um, I think there are different fields of photographers. There are people like us who actually study the craft, and we want to get into the art and go deeper into the arts, and we actually like give a shit about the level of who we are. Now, that thing right there is not connected to anything else. Like you saying that I want to be better is it's separate from what you see on social media. You have people who will just pick up a camera and say, I'm a photographer. I'm established. You know what I'm saying? They ain't never picking up no books. They never went to a workshop. They never trying to get a mentor. They're never trying to really learn. They don't want to know about the essence of photography. They just want to take pictures. And that market is oversaturated. It's funny because when you see a market that's oversaturated, generally you would have some form of fear because everybody's a photographer. But no, because they all don't do this. They don't do this. They don't get this level of work. They don't get this type of response, and because they don't care. So when they get done doing the tricks and learning their knickknacks and understand that their career falls short because they never got into the art of it, this will be the reason why.
I mean, I think that's so important, and you kind of mentioned this, but one of the reoccurring themes through these interviews has been the importance of mentorships and people in your corner that not only teach you but push you to care about what you're doing. Because if
Mm.
you anyone, like you said, anyone can pick up a camera, but in order to make photography your life and your livelihood, there has to be, at least in the beginning, I think, someone who says, why are you here?
Mm.
Like, why are you doing this?
Are you asking me, or are you just making that statement in
Well,
general?
more commentary, I think, on, like I said, it's been a reoccurring theme throughout the interviews, but I know that you have worked with both Dallas and Day as your mentors. Can you talk about the importance of that in your career, either with
Oh,
them or anyone else?
oh man. I mean, for me, you get a mentor. You start off at zero. You find out that you're nothing, and you learn how to be right. See, look, the funny thing about that, because I love making that statement. I love talking about that because a lot of people, everybody want to hear the good, and nobody want to hear the bad. Hey, look, you ain't nobody. You ain't nothing. Don't nobody know you. You know what I'm saying? Your work is all right. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But you're here to learn how to be something. You know what I'm saying? And when a mentor take you in, they see that something. They see it. Oh, I don't know. Okay, all right. You look rough around the edges, but you got a little something. You know what I'm saying? And they cultivate you and build you up, and they make you be something. You know what I mean? And it weave all through your life and everything else, and you become a different person. You actually become you. If you feel like in the beginning before a mentor, you feel like something. You feel like, oh man, I got some sauce, but I don't know what to do with it. And a mentor is like, okay, here's your sauce. This is it. Now go work with this and go be. Yeah.
So, one of the things that I have heard occasionally amongst other creatives is they feel like they're too old or they've done too much to seek out a mentor. Do you, I mean, is that even a thing? Is there an age limit on having
I'm
a mentor?
absolutely not. I'm 41 years old, so I was like in my 30s. I've known Dave Dallas for about 8 years, 8, 9 years. So yeah, it's no, no. If I was 50 and I didn't have a mentor, especially knowing what I know now, yes, please teach me, show me the way. Like because I mean, mentorship is like a pathway. It takes you where you've never been. It shows you shit you like. If it will regularly take you 10 years to learn something, a mentor can technically show you that shit in two, depending on what it is. So then they'll make you jump, and it'll make your life jump. You know what I'm saying? So even if you're 60 years old and you really wanted to do it, yeah, that mentor will be dope for you. And you got to understand, but that's the problem. You go back to that ego. Who wants to have a mentor? I'm a grown ass man. What I look like, being up under somebody. Yeah, all right. I do it.
I think one of my favorite things about the last year and getting to know you and Dallas and Day more is realizing I don't actually know anything, and I am so good with that. I love learning. When I say I've been a perpetual student, I mean I've spent a lot of money on learning things, but the last year I think has just changed my entire mindset about photography. And I think that's one of maybe the worst things about being around other creatives. They get so wrapped up in, well, my work is good and I like it, so I don't really want to hear anyone else's input about it. There's so much out there to just learn.
Okay, so wait. Now you hit a topic. Okay, let's go. Okay, all right. So now look, learning. When you say the statement that you made is like an artist is saying, "This is who I am, and I don't want to learn anything additional." Okay, cool. So what happens is, wait, is this with a mentor or without a mentor?
So I don't officially have a mentor for all that I've never asked Dallas and Day. I mean, they're the first people that I run to when I have a question. And I have Light is Light, I have the ebook. And so I know you remember this a year ago. I was like, no, I just feel like natural light is superior. I'm not crazy about studio lighting. And then I was like, this is dumb. I have the strobes. I might as well learn how to use them, right? So I did that. I've been working with the book a lot. And I just bought a new set of LED lights. I know we're not supposed to buy anything specifically because of the book, but the strobes weren't doing what I needed them to do. And the what I have learned over the last year brought me to the point where I can say the equipment that I have is not getting me the desired results. That's something that I learned. So I upgraded my gear.
Let me ask you a question. Let's be nerds. What was the wattage of your strobes?
They were 250 each, and I have two
Ah,
of them.
okay, right. So then, and sometimes the LEDs are stronger than your strobes.
The strobes were great for very specific lighting situations where I really wanted to mimic natural light, but that's not always what you want to do. Sometimes you want dramatic, emotional. Sometimes you want that. Sometimes you want the deep shadows. So you need brighter wattage. For me, it made more sense to get the LEDs because I can change the brightness from my phone. I can change it on demand.
From your phone.
Yeah, they have all kinds of apps now.
Oh man, that sounds dope. I mean, listen, as a Padawan, you learn how to use your tools to your advantage. I mean, you can use anything and create anything with anything, to be honest with you. I can take your 200-watt strobe and blow your mind.
Sure.
It's a thing. It's all a process. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to upgrade. It's okay to upgrade your equipment. Um, only if you understand like the pros and cons of what you're doing. Like if you can literally say, I'm going here because of this and that. You
I
know what I
think
mean?
that's something that comes up a lot, especially amongst photographers. There's this need, I think, or a false need where people feel like they have to have the newest and the best and the greatest gear, but they don't actually understand what they have. They don't know how to use what they have.
So right there, that's feelings. These are feelings. So um, I love talking to people like that. I had a mentee that walked up to me with a Sony, and he was like, "You still shooting with Nikon?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, you slipping. You gotta get this new Sony, man. This new Sony is at its worst, best camera in the world." He's like, "Yo, they gonna pass you up." And he was talking all this shit, and I'm just like, "You think you can shoot better than me?" So he paused. I'm like, "Wait, hold on. You was rah-rah. This Sony is this, and this Sony is that. Can you do it? Because you have this gear, does that make you superior? Or does that make you feel better? Do you feel better because you have an equipment? Because if you have equipment, you don't know how to use it, then it don't mean nothing. You can't even tell me what my so-called subpar equipment do or don't do because you just feel better about spending a couple $1,000s. So once again, are you trying to be a photographer? Or are you just trying to feel good and look good? You know, people pick up a camera and be like, look, I'm a photographer. And people be like, ooh, you're a photographer. And you be like, yes, snap, snap. And it's like, that's all they want. Some people don't even get the money, and they take the fame, and that satiates them. They're comfortable with just feeling like they're somebody, and that's sad.
This may be a controversial statement, but I am of the mind that pressing the shutter is like the last step in the process of photography, and it's not even the most important step.
It's not even a who.
It's not even the most important step in
The shutter
creating a
isn't the most.
photo. Pressing the shutter button, like actually clicking the button, to me is the last step in the process of creating a photo, because there's so much else that goes into it before you ever point your lens.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about it.
I'm supposed to be the one interviewing you.
No, I'm gonna answer your question. I'm answering your question. I dig it. I like what you said. And I kind of disagree because to me, the most important part of photography is, in most cases, is time. Adrian, if I take a screenshot of us talking right now, you can never do it again. You can take a picture like it, but it would never be the same. It would never be what we just had. It would never be what's going on right now. So when you press that shutter, how you press that shutter, the timing of when you press that shutter is everything. I shot this lady and she was going through something, and she hit an emotional moment, and I felt honored to be there to capture that because you can see, the distress on her face. Now, I can't put her in my studio and say, "Come on, show me the stress." Like, you're not gonna get what just really happened. You know what I'm saying? I really asked you a question. You really went back there, and I pressed that shutter and caught it. So, what you
I
think?
don't think we're disagreeing. I think we're just taking different paths to get to the
Oh,
same point.
yeah.
Everything that leads up to the moment that you press the shutter button, I think, is what makes the photo.
Yeah. I think it's all encompassed. Everything counts.
This was like a huge argument on Clubhouse a couple weeks ago. Like, is it the styling? Is it the creative direction? Is it the
Yeah.
lighting?
What is,
What is
well,
it that makes the photo?
yeah, the order of operations and taking photos. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, how about this? What make bomb ass chili? Do you ever really break down the chili? Or do you like the dish? Like, oh, that shit was good. You know what I'm saying? Do you say, you know what, it was the bean that made this? You see what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? If it's good, it's good, because all of those things are important. Now, there is an order of operation. It is. And to talk about that is kind of like a trick question because you need it all. You know what I mean? If I dress you up and don't have a concept, you'll just be a person with dope ass clothes on. If I have a concept and don't have uh, a proper light, then I got this dope ass concept and we shooting you flat and boring. You see what I'm saying? Like you need every piece. And once you get all the pieces, you put together. And to be funny, they didn't talk about the shutter, but the shutter is still needed because if you're not timing what you're doing, or if you're not grabbing it at a point of importance, then what are you doing?
Sure.
And on top of that, take somebody who has all the elements. Take a 50-year person and a 2-year person. See what happens. I think it'll be significantly different.
I think one would probably be more technically sound, but one might be more interesting to look at.
That's funny because do you feel like technically sound and makes interest like if it's packed sharp, the composition is appropriate. You think that's what makes it
So
interesting?
that's a difficult question because I've seen some really technically beautiful photos that did absolutely nothing for me emotionally. And I've also seen some photos that were most definitely composed in the heat of the moment, but like they hit me right in the heart. So I don't think it's an either or thing. I think technical skill and interest or art, whatever you want to call it, artistic value, I think they can go hand in hand. I don't think they have to be in opposition to each other,
I agree.
which is a politically correct answer, but
Feel like I'm just answering this the proper way.
but okay, so an actual question for you because this is part of our Black History Month series. You are a Black photographer. You work in an industry that it is predominantly white. You work in fashion and beauty. Can you talk about what it feels like to walk into a room and either see no other Black creatives on set or to see other Black creatives on set?
Okay, so the one that you're familiar with is when you see another black creative on set. It's just like when you're in school or you're at some professional establishment and you see somebody and y'all be like, what up? You know, y'all ain't got to know each other, but the fact that we both black and we both made it here, I look across the room and I see somebody else that look like me. It's like, bruh, it's good. Okay. Because we shouldn't be surprised that we see another black professional there. It's just we just inherently happy to see ourselves in another profession. Now, the other part, I don't, I'm a little weird. That's exciting. I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen, I don't have a black name. Charan is not a black name. And when you see my work, it doesn't look like technically black work. You know what I'm saying? So now, this 300-pound, 6'2" chocolate man walks into a set and they're like, you're the photographer. Yeah. 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 How you doing? I love it. I love it because like when people talk about change for African Americans and we talk about the switch of perceptions, how the world see us, it is a great thing for me to be in a white room as a black man and for me to conduct myself in that room as a black man. Because all it does as I sit in that room, being black, it shreds stereotypes. You supposed to be doing drugs, gone. You supposed to be ghetto, gone. Y'all lackluster and unprofessional, gone. Oh, listen, he doesn't have a sense of humor, gone. Oh, he isn't a palatable person, gone. All that shit is going. You know what I'm saying? It's going. And I love doing it. I love doing it. Like, look, you just learned about some black folks. We're not a monolith. I don't represent everybody, but you just did see something that just obliterated what you thought a black man was. It's a greatest feeling in the world, by none.
So I mean, as part of that, as part of, I guess, challenging stereotypes about what blackness is and what it looks like, as someone that works in fashion and beauty, and as someone that works with younger child models a lot, Like, how important is it for you to challenge the stereotypical image of what a black person is? Like black joy or anything really.
You got to understand, for me to exist in the pockets that you just named challenges the perspective of black people, period. Because a lot of those things that you talk about, you don't naturally think of black people in those areas. So I'm just like, hey, I'm, I'm here. I am here.
I mean, I think that's such a. I don't do fashion or beauty photography, it's not my particular niche, but so much of the imagery that we've seen in the last few years in publications like Vogue, Vanity Fair, Elle, Essence, Harper's Bazaar, the very image of like what it is to be a black person is changing in real time because black people are photographing black people.
Can we curse on here?
I mean, you already have, so
I don't count it. I don't remember
go
it.
for it.
But listen. You know how fucked up that is, what you just said. I'm so serious. It's like it's a nuance of African American people. It's not. No, they're just opening the doors to see us. But people are looking at it like, oh my God, this is new. Look, this is about black people. Hey, listen, man, black folks been like that forever. Y'all just not figuring it out. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy part about it is nobody has shame about that. Everybody's excited because we're given a chance to see and express ourselves and do these things. But it's like, bruh, we've been doing this. My daddy and my daddy's daddy been doing a thing that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe. Like, come on, man. Like it's messed up. Like we still got a lot of healing that we need to do. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done. There's a lot of understanding that needs to happen. And I'm happy that we're here. Honestly, I am.
It feels novel, but it shouldn't. So I did a photo essay for Sweet July, and they wanted to do a series about Black joy through food. My mom is a chef, so
Oh,
that's like this first thing that came to mind. I called my mom. I was like, "Listen, can I follow you around for a day with my camera?" She's like, "As long as you give me some photos to post, you can do whatever you want." I was like, awesome, amazing. So I went home. I didn't tell my grandma until the last minute because I didn't want her to talk herself out of it. But I asked her the day before. I was like, listen, I need you and my mom to get along for a day so that I can photograph you in the kitchen making rum cake.
please play
And
nice.
I mean,
Um,
it was incredible, but throughout the process, I kept forgetting to click the shutter button because it wasn't like a new or novel experience for me. I grew up with these two women in the kitchen making rum cake. This is not a novel experience for me. But for so many of the people that saw that spread, they were like, "Oh my God, I never realized that like two Black Jamaican immigrants, could look like this. I never realized that like this is an experience. It's not something that they've ever had to consider or think about because they're so wrapped up in the image of what a Black immigrant family looks like in their head,
mm.
which is wild to me because this is just my life."
No, it's when you was talking about it, it made me think about how I shoot. So I might get a project that I hate. And I remember I had a conversation with Dallas, and Dallas was like, from that for the rest of your life, you have to make love to your photos. I'm like, what are you talking about? Make love. You're like, there should be a great amount of love in everything that you shoot. I don't care if it's a birthday. You need to make love to it. So when you were breaking down what you're doing, it's like that's what was happening. It's like, have you guys, like as if you were whispering to the world, have you guys ever seen this before? Have you ever seen the process of rum cake from these people? Have you seen it? Have you seen that perspective? Well, let me show you. You know what I'm saying? And you get into the process of taking that photo in that way, yeah, it's going to touch somebody. somebody's gonna be touched. And you, if you believe that as you press in the shutter, you'll be good.
I think that's and I mean I think that's a huge part of what goes into telling a story with your photos, which I think is something that gets lost, right? A lot of people, they just take the photo and then that's kind of it. But for me, at least, I always hope that like there's someone gets something out of it, some kind of story out of the photo, or they feel a little bit of what I felt when I took that photo.
Man, you know what? Once I found out how to give myself a self affirmation about that I'm good, and once I have an understanding of what I want to do, I care about nothing else. It's a hard process, but it's dope because the return in it is amazing. So if you take a picture of you that you like, you don't care if nobody else like, but that shit is awesome to you, and then you put it online, you like throw it in the air, and it's just like, hey, y'all check that out. If two people come back and say that's amazing, it's like, look, I put this up here for you to like it, but thank you. That's awesome. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome. You like my shit? I like my shit too. I like it. Hey yo, that's how it be. Look, that's how I be when I shoot in the studio. I get hyped. I be getting hyped. I'm like, this is amazing. They be like, this is for me, not you. I'm like, yeah, but I took it. Shit, dude. That's tight. It's like, yeah, you should be into your shit and shouldn't care about what nobody else thinks about it.
Oh,
It's a cool legacy to
absolutely.
leave behind. Yeah.
So, if I can switch gears a little bit because we have about 25 minutes left, and this might take a little bit of time, but a couple weeks ago, or a couple clubhouse meetings ago, you and I started talking about something that bonds the two of us. And
Yay.
it's something that I don't hear a lot of other creatives, especially black creative, just black people in general. It's not something that I hear them talk a lot about. So you and I both have adult ADHD, which is a huge deal. Simply dealing with ADHD in general is a huge deal. But when you work for yourself and you already have so many internal forces like conspiring against your ability to get work done, to manage your finances, to edit your photos, to like get through your workflow, to respond to emails, to answer your phone. It feels, for my own personal experience, I don't know, running your own business, it feels impossible sometimes. And
I
I will
relate to
sit on
everything
my
that
couch.
I relate to everything that you just said. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. I didn't start getting my shit together until like the last 15 minutes. I'm like, oh man, I got to do this interview. And I didn't make sure what time it is, so I don't be like and did like 50 things in between then and now. But no, it's a real thing, and I think that when you have ADHD, you can't really talk about it. I can't speak for other races, but in the African American world, we live under the rules of if I can't see it, it doesn't exist. So if I'm not bleeding, then it's not really real. You know what I mean? And that's why we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it because like we're making excuses, and people don't understand how hard it is to do anything. And it's just the fact of life. It's messed up too, but it is what it is. Everything that you just listed, I go through every day.
I think one of the hardest things for me was I still haven't done my taxes, so I'm just going to get that out of the way. I absolutely need to get on that,
I don't want to talk about it. Mm,
um,
mm.
my finances has, or at least managing separate finances as a business owner apart from my own personal finances, I think has been the worst part for me because I'm already a compulsive spender. That's just part of ADHD. You spend money trying to get the dopamine high, right? So having to set aside money in a business account that I absolutely cannot touch.
Yeah. Real life problems. give me an excuse not to manage things like that. So I'll get a big project and sit that money right here and be like, I'm not gonna touch that project. And then something to happen with one of my kids, and I'll be like, okay, I gotta touch that money. I have to touch that money. This is why I have to touch that money. I just justify why I have to touch that money. Hold on. And now that I have touched that money, there's a couple other things I can get. Next thing you know, you only have a quarter of what you started with. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to harp on it because I know it's like a weird and also frustrating topic to talk about, but I do want to say finding out that I know another black photographer with ADHD who's like making it work. That was
Yeah.
huge for me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is a process. It is a horrible process. It is, but it's like it's something that you have to go through. So you're a photographer, you're creative, you can make money, but now you have to make a living. So what I learned having ADHD is, hey, look, if you got to take 10 steps and the average human being got to take two, plan accordingly. Somebody be like, oh, this only take 15 minutes. This might take me an hour. But I won't talk about that because if you talk about somebody about that, they scrutinize you. The only other person who's going to really hear you out is a doctor, and then they start issuing you a whole, well, I got something for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you take that pill, it's going to change your life somewhere else on the side effect world. And it's just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to deal. And
Absolutely.
step and repeat until we die. So,
So, before we wrap up, I do have one more question for you, which I hope will bring the mood back up a little bit. But describe your dream photo shoot to me.
my dream photo shoot is anything that I haven't done. Because every time I do something, I learn. And every time I learn, everything gets better. I was just at assisting at a photo shoot. And I was assisting this New York photographer. And the stuff that he showed me was amazing. And every time you do the process, it gets better and better and better. It's more conflicting. It's harder. It's challenging. But every time you walk out of that structure, you learn something. It's like, oh look, now I know about this, now I know about that. Like when I first started doing bigger projects, I learned about flight plans and setting up your hotel and if you don't, how you end up in a car for the night. You know what I'm saying? Or you learn how to properly ask for money, or how you make a statement that's non-negotiable, or how you avoid net 30s and net 90s and net 120s. You know what I'm saying? How you set it up to where you can have um, your money laid out in a workflow. You know what I mean? But you don't learn that until you go through the steps. You know what I'm saying? Until you do like a 5-figure project, and because you didn't do any workflow and you didn't ask for anything, you're now not going to get it from 3 months until after you finish the actual project. It hits you, and then you learn, and then you go through it, and now you're an adjusted person. So every time I do something I've never done before, I love it. I love it.
Okay. That was a great answer, but it was not really in the spirit of the question that
Oh,
I
you want
asked.
me to dream? You want me to say, oh my God, there's five
I
people.
want to know like your dream creative direction, your dream styling, your dream subject, your dream gear, even.
Mm. Dream styling, I would like to choose something with Vogue. I would like to put a story together and 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 have a 10-page spread. Dream person I want to shoot. Um, I want to shoot someone like Denzel Washington and actually have a live conversation. And I don't want to take his picture to say I take his picture. I want to take him somewhere, like mentally in conversation, and have the ability to catch that. You know what I'm saying? To catch somebody, to catch an actor having a natural moment. Like, think about that. I don't want to catch Denzel Washington acting like he's sad. I want to have a conversation that brings him to a certain level of sadness and capture that. I think that's dope. Like, once again, that's one of those things where it's like, I couldn't care if anybody liked that. But in this moment in time, I remember what I did. And it's awesome. So, yeah. Dream gear. Listen, lady, there's a trick. Whatever you want, you can get it. And we can talk about it later. And I'm so serious. I'm so serious. If you got about $800, I can show you how
Okay.
you can get. I can show you how
God.
you can get. Look, I can show you how you can get anything, and it's called renting. Now,
I
look,
knew that
look.
was going to be the answer.
I was about to say, what was in your head? You're gonna knock over a couple trucks. You know what I'm saying?
No.
600, 600. I got you. But no.
No, I just, um, ASMP had an event last week at George Lang's studio.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the conversations that I was in, we were talking about like, if you were going to upgrade your gear, like what would be the next logical step? And I think as a Canon user, don't fight me in the comments. But as a Canon
Nikon,
user,
what's good?
I think the I think the default for other Canon users is to say the R5. I know that mirrorless has its stands. I respect it, but if I was going to upgrade my gear tomorrow, I would probably get like a 5D Mark IV. Don't you put your hat back on?
This is a different hat. I just want to make sure it was in the video. But no, seriously. Oh my God, the gear doesn't matter.
It
Listen, I can
doesn't.
show. I'm so serious. I can show you 5 pictures right now, and you can tell me what was used to take it. I promise you, gear is a fantasy for the consumer that companies have learned how to pour into your heads to make you feel better. That's what that is. I promise you. Talk to somebody who just bought a brand new piece of gear. You would think that they want $1 million. Oh my God, I can't wait to unwrap my R5. Oh. Like, no. Like, look, I tell you how my dream got destroyed. It was Dallas. So I needed to get a new camera, and Dallas was like, why? And I was like, because he's like, you can't answer that question. He said, you can't buy another piece of gear until you can answer that question. So I would come back to him and I'd be like, well, I need more megapixels. He's like, for what? I said, if I have more megapixels, my images will look better. And he'd be like, in what way? And I'd be like, I'll be back. so then, so then I was like, if I have more megapixels, then my images will be more clear. And that's when I learned about lenses. You know what I'm saying? So you learn about lenses. And I'm like, shit. Like, it's nothing wrong with your equipment. You just don't know how to shoot. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I need to get me a better camera. Like, it took like 2 years before I found out something real, which was, listen, I was shooting a 700 square feet studio at the time. I was like, I want to get more space. I think I need a full frame camera. He was like, that's an answer. But now, once you learn how to break things down and demystify the whole idea of gear, it's horrible now because it's like you can't be excited. I remember I went into a shop to get some more paper, and they're like, Nikon got a new camera. You want to see it? I was like, no. There were like 3 people in there. They were looking like I was weird. Like, yeah. Like, I don't want to see it. I don't. What do I need to see it for? What is it gonna do for me that I'm not already getting done? Like you said a
Listen,
5D Mark IV. You said a 5D Mark IV. That's not the newest camera. You know what I'm
no,
saying?
not at all.
And I know some professionals that use Hasselblads, and that's their favorite camera.
I
That's a
also
bar.
I also know some who shoot almost exclusively on a Hasselblad. Having said that, some days if I am going out on the street, I'll pick up my T6, which is a crop sensor. It's a budget camera, but you know what? It gets the job done.
That's what got me in jail when he said I couldn't buy another piece of equipment. He was like, I'm gonna show you three pictures. And he was like, one picture was taken with a T2i, one picture was taken with a Nikon, and one was taken with a house supply. Pick which is which. And I could it was a profound lesson right there. It was like, yeah, you so worried about the gear. And I was like, this is taken with a house supply for sure. And Dave was like, that was a T2i. Actually, I shot that. I was like, oh shit. Go back to your studio, learn how to shoot. I'm like, oh shit.
Some of my best photos were taken on a T6 with a
Figure.
1855 millimeter kit lens. And you know what? It does what it needs to do, and that's really all that you can ask of your gear.
The last couple of photos I put up, I went to a couple of people. I had the greatest fun in the world. I said, listen, I just want to tell you something. You were right. Now, this is the psyche right here. I said, you were right. Them last pictures I shot, I had got me an R5. And man, I can see the difference in it. I just had to come back and let you know that I've been wrong all this time. Yo, I knew it. I told you Canon is superior. Look at the quality of that image. Look at the quality. Look at how much better these photos is than every other photo on your page. And I look at them and be like, sight.
Well, Canon is superior, but we don't have time to get into that right now. So,
Nighttime Nation, Canon Killer.
before we end here, is there anything that I missed? Is there anything you want to share with the people?
I'm a very nice person.
I don't disagree.
Oh man. If you hear me on Clubhouse, I have a misconception because I'm forward, but I still have a heart. I do.
Absolutely. So, before we go, where can people find you? How can they support you?
Support. I mean, you can see my stuff on IG. My website is charaningram.com. But man, I'm not up for selling myself. I don't listen, I don't have business cards. Can you imagine that? I don't have business cards. I have a website to show off my work, which needs to be updated. I have my IG and social media. And to be honest with me, if you look at my Instagram page, it's really just a diary. It's a diary of the journey of me getting better. If you start at the bottom and scroll up, it just gets better and better and better. Like I used to do little things in my store, in my posts. Like if you saw a black and white photo, that is a moment where I was insecure and was scared to post something. But I posted it because I want to learn, the art of black and whites, how to really shoot something that had emotion. But whenever I was uncomfortable, I make it black and white. I'll just do certain things. It's like a growth thing. A day told me something that was some of the dopest shit in the world. And this is to any artist that's watching this right now. Yo, if you ever feel bad about yourself, if you're comparing yourself to anybody else, you should look at your work. Look at your work when you started and look at where you are right now. That is all of the verification that you need.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for spending the last hour with me.
I know, right?
And for participating in our Black History Month series.
You need some more people?
Oh, we're actually wrapping up. Believe it or not, this is the last week of February.
Oh, sure is. Because I'm about to say, if you need some people, there's a couple people that's in this room right now that I can definitely swing your way.
Unfortunately, this is the last week of the series, but maybe they'll let me keep doing the interviews. We have a board meeting coming up, so we'll find out this week.
All right.
Well, again, thank you so much for participating. Thank you to everyone that watched. Our next interview will be tomorrow at the usual time, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Wow, that word trips me up every time. 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to check in, it'll be on the same channel. and have a wonderful evening. And I will see you in Clubhouse in like 5 minutes.
Right, in like 5 minutes. Yeah, you're gonna go straight to Clubhouse. If y'all don't go to Clubhouse, come to Clubhouse. We're gonna be talking about whatever's going on in the world. I think one of the topics is gonna be about that garbage that they did with the twins, with the tennis player Serena and her sister.
I'm not gonna comment on
Yeah, what you think?
that,
How you feel
but
about it?
have a
How
wonderful
you,
evening, everyone.
we're gonna talk about it over there. See y'all later.